Once again, good morning. Welcome to the second installment of our No-Till Farmers Ask the Operator webinar series with 2023 Conservation Ag Operator Fellow Loran Steinlage of West Union, Iowa. Today we're welcoming Olexiy and Konstantin, two Ukrainian no-tillers, for a live discussion about their no-till operations and the regenerative practices they're experimenting with in Ukraine. So these two no-tillers are also going to discuss the challenges of farming in wartime and what all of us here in North America should know about the ongoing war in Ukraine and how we can help the farmers there out. Erin Silva, Associate Professor at UW-Madison and State Extension Specialist in Organic and Sustainable Cropping Systems. She's also joining us today to discuss the project she worked on with Olexiy, as well as answer your questions about making organic and regenerative practices work for your operation. So with that, I will hand it over to Loran, Konstantin, Olexiy, and Erin. And one more quick note, we'll be taking questions throughout the webinar. You can post those in the Q&A section, and then we'll read those as they come in and as they fit into this discussion. So don't feel shy about asking questions this morning.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks, Michaela, for helping arrange this, and a special thanks to Luda for helping connect with Olexiy, and Konstantin, you're a gem as usual. I'm looking forward to this. For those of you that know me, you know, a little over a year ago, I was over in Ukraine, and I'm not afraid to tell people that's changed me for life, I think. I mean, just the spirit of the Ukrainian people and that has made me think awful hard about how fortunate we are as American farmers. And we did this same session a year ago, and people have been asking me for an update. You know, how are things really going? And, you know, I don't watch much of the news media anymore for a reason. I like to reach out to the guys and learn what's actually going on the farm itself, because as I've traveled around the world, I've learned, the one thing I've learned is farmers speak farmer. And that's what I want you guys to hear today. I think we're having a little fun already. If you didn't hear on the intro a little bit there, you know, we're making connections and we're making deals, and that's what this is about, helping each other through this whole deal. And with that, you know, I'm going to ask on the questions. I know it's not needed, but you know, I don't really like to share their location and stuff like that. You know, remember, they are in a war zone. If they want to tell you where they're at, that's great. But just please respect their privacy and stuff like that. You know, I don't have to do that, but it's just me. I don't want to risk somebody else's life just so we have something in that. But if each one of you would care to just kind of give an introduction of yourself, where you're at, and, you know, in your position on the farm and in industry, I'd appreciate that. And we'll see where it goes.
I can speak?
Yes.
So my name is Konstantin. I'm from Ukraine. I'm close to the farmers. I know a lot of farmers in Ukraine, even Olexiy. We are friends, and we're organizing a lot of conferences. Mainly we are trying to be deeper of understanding how plants in agriculture feeding, how much of which element in which period of their life they need. And I have company which name Agroterra. This company is a dealer of European company brands, Lemken, New Holland. We are a really good connection with Greg Sauder, maybe you know, the founder of Precision Planting, and guy who founded 360 Yield Center. We're helping farmers to be more profitable with this product. And so I'm director of owner of this company. We have another few companies, so we are in agriculture more than 20 years, and try to understand what farmers need and how to help them. This is it. Next time I will speak more about something else. Olexiy?
Якщо можна, Костя или Люда, хто буде допомагати мені переводити? Костя, ти?
If Luda is the best specialist, I don't mind, no problem.
А Люда виключений мікрофон. Я Олексій, фермер
His
з
name is
Житомирщини.
Olexiy. He's farmer from Zhytomyr region from Ukraine,
Це центр України.
center of Ukraine.
В мене на сьогоднішній день є 3000 гектарів землі.
He is farming in 3,000 hectares of land.
І вся ця земля органічна.
All this land is organic.
Я маю досвід вирощування 20 років.
We have experience of agriculture 20 years.
З них в нас 8 років було no-till виробництво.
8 years it was no-till production.
І 11 років органічне виробництво, не no-till.
11 years now using organic, but they cannot have absolutely no-till. They're doing something with soil.
І маю досвід 6 років no-till випробувань.
And he speaks here a lot of testing for no-till for organic. So he's guy, I think, in Ukraine who have a lot of tests, different new ideas, testing everything on the field, how it will work, how it will not work.
Иногда у нас получается, иногда нет, но стабильности еще нет.
Sometimes we have results, sometimes not, so we're waiting for stability of results.
Мы выращиваем кукурузу, сою,
We are growing
пшеницу, гречку, просто, подсолнечник.
A lot of different agriculture.
И с этим всем экспериментируем в органическом no-till.
And they have a lot of experiments in organic no-till.
Сегодня начали заниматься энергетическими культурами.
From this year, we will start to work with, I don't know name, it's energy plants to have.
Miscanthus.
Miscanthus, maybe you know, there is name of this plant.
That would be like switchgrass.
Да, elephant grass. Экспериментов много, опыта тоже есть, поэтому с удовольствием поделюсь.
They have done a lot of experiments. They have a lot of knowledge in different directions. So if you have questions, he will ask.
Thank you, Olexiy. And that brings us to Erin Silva. You know, I keyed in when I heard you actually worked with Erin, so that's why I invited her on here. If Erin would care to share her experience working with you.
Sure. So thank you for having me today. It's always such a pleasure, and I learned so much talking to farmers. And from our experiences working with farmers in Ukraine, there's like Loran mentioned, there's just so much value in terms of these exchange and ideas. As we look forward to developing regenerative organic systems and develop systems that are going to continue to enhance our soil health, I think the answers really lie within the farmers, and happy as a researcher to help provide insight in terms of weaving things together and helping with on-farm experiments. But so much is being done on farms, so much is happening with respect to innovation on farms. And talking to the folks in the Ukraine, it is amazing, I think, the innovation and thoughts and creativity and progress that's being made there. So we've talked in the past about different ideas with respect to implementing organic no-till, certainly looking at soybeans and the cereal rye system that we've been working on here in the U.S. and at UW-Madison, but also looking at how do we extend that into other crops, such as sunflowers, what are the cover crops we want to use for roller crimping, and what are the sorts of production practices and modifications that we need to make and partner that with different equipment, especially when we're talking about scaling up to more of the production scale that we see in Ukraine as well as in the Corn Belt of the U.S. So we've bounced thoughts off each other in terms of how to do different approaches with different cover crops and different sorts of equipment approaches with strip-tillage and fertility approaches. So it's really been just incredibly valuable for this information exchange and trying to work together collaboratively to bring organic forward in the way it needs to be brought forward with reducing tillage and adding more cover crops to the system.
Thank you, Erin. First question I'd really have is, what is the current planting conditions for you personally in Ukraine right now? I mean, what's, American farmers, some are running already down in southern states, but, here in the northern, we're probably 2 to 3 weeks out. So what is your current position?
Our current position is different in different regions. So sometimes farmers just waiting to have temperature plus 9 degrees in place where you will put the seeds to make phosphor be available and start seeding. So we are waiting because now temperature is not so high and raining each day, a lot of moisture on the field. But sometimes we have different problems with this. So, okay, I think maybe you expect me to be, 1 second, to be like this. So it's just to describe everyone that here in Ukraine we have war. And sometimes we are like this, but normally we like farmers, yes. And I have one good friend, farmer. He's in area of Kharkiv region, and his farm was occupied by Russians, and now it's deoccupied. It's near Izium region. It's city Borova name, and. Okay, I will not tell you about a lot of stories about occupation. After the occupation, you have first problem to just go to the field and just throw away all the bombs which are there. It's special guys. In the end of this last year, he's make 60% of his fields clear from bombs, and his planter, 24 rows horse new planter, is in my area in Khmelnytsky region to make it safer, because even now in his field each day some bombs are flying. And the biggest problem for him now, yesterday I speak with him, he planned to seed sunflower and corn, and he have 60% of field ready to planting, and he's waiting time of weather and say to Kostya, give me my planter, we will seed. Yes, but now military guys came and said, okay, in your field you cannot grow high agriculture product like corn and sunflower, because then when we will need to find some guys from Russia who will go through your field, we must to see them, and your plant not must be bigger than them. So now he's saying, I don't know, I never seed soybeans, but I need to think about this direction, and I don't have seeding materials and everything else. So we have farmers who, for example, another my friend, which from Kherson region, closer to Crimea, they occupied it now. The main thing that he's here in Kiev, he was in occupied area more than half year, a lot of not so interesting stories. But now the main problem is that all seeding material was stolen, and he's done seeding. It's reality of life. We must understand, yes, agriculture, everything. And I want to tell you about, so as I understand, here it's a lot of farmers who are no-till farmers, yes? Olexiy either. So last year showed me the one difference. Me, like Konstantin, I really think that no-till, strip-till, cover crops, it's a great thing, it's future, and it's direction in which we must look. But last year showing that plowing is better than no-till. Why? We have one farmer who have no-till, and his neighbor have plowed all these fields. And last year, when Russian with tank came to their places, after plow, their tanks was stuck in their field. So for a situation when your country have war, plowing is better. if you're interested, as the main thing, after war start, after Loran was here in Ukraine, I have few friends who have 2 birthdays in war situation. So their first birthday was my telling to him, for example, I wish you that it was the last your war birthday and everything else will be without war. But situation is that I have few friends who have 2 birthdays, all of them in war. So it means that war in Ukraine is more than 1 year. I think my thinking is that when Russians start this war, they expect that Ukraine will not be staying more than a few weeks. But we are showing that we are a little bit stronger than they expect. The main thing I want to describe you not only about sitting, okay, first day of war. You know, I think and a lot of people around me think that I'm strong guy who making decisions, doing steps further, good director or something like this, and strong, yes. But in situation when war coming, we must understand that all our bodies is just physics and chemicals. And only after my friend, he's great specialist in psychology, yes, in understanding all this thing. He said, Kostya, you must understand, because I don't understand what's happened. First day, all this information situation, and I feeling myself like I'm not Kostya, someone else, yes, so I cannot make decisions so fast and everything else. And he said, Kostya, it's normal physics. In such situation, your organism sending to brain some chemicals, and these chemicals just turning off some parts of your brain, yes, and you're becoming something different, not like you was. And we must understand this, and it is like it is. And I think a lot of people in Ukraine, when war started, more than 1 week was without 100% of brain working. The main thing is that this guy psychologist say, okay, first thing, I can work with you half of hour and your brain will start work more than 70%. Okay, he helped me. After 1 hour of speaking with him, I have come back to normal. Maybe my brain start working more than 80%. I asked him, my friend, okay, I'm normal. Tell me how to work with all guys who's around me. It's more than 80 people in the same condition without 100% brain working. He said, okay, I will not have possibility to work with each of them. The main thing which will help, it's brutal physical work. Just doing something physical with your hands, and it's help. So I use his words, and after 3 days, all my team was normal, I think. It's situation sometimes when you're remembering all these days, what it will be, what it was, how it was when you're trying to call to your bank and no one answering, or if they're answering, why you are calling? It's war, we are closed. You're trying to organize some shipment of spare parts, of organizing diesel or something like this, and everyone something like sleeping, what's happening. So when we trying to remember all this day, it's, I think each one have experience which I hope no one from your side will never have. First of all, what people do is thinking about this. I will tell you just a little story of my morning in 4 a.m. when my wife pick up me from my bed. Say, Kostya, war is starting. Yes, I heard from. I was in Kiev. We start to heard some shots, bombs. First of all, what you're thinking about in this direction is safety of your children and wife. Yes, so we make decision. We go to car. In 5 a.m. we already was in cars and go somewhere closer to European border. I leave them there. We make decision to stay in Ukraine, and I will just go to my main office to make stable all these processes, which was bad situations. Yeah, so. But first, think about what you're thinking. It's your children's and family. Like this, it's first day. Olexiy, what's your first day was? What was in your head? Про що ти думав перший день війни?
Я перший день був вже готовий, але до цього підготуватися неможливо.
But he's saying that it's not possible to be prepared for this.
Моя сім'я була вже ближче до кордону з Польщею.
His family was already closer to border to European Union.
А я був на час початку війни в Києві.
And he was in start of war in Kyiv.
Повернувся з Чернігова вночі,
Came
які зруйнували приблизно за тиждень війни, майже вщент.
Кого?
Чернігів.
He just was in Chernihiv region day before war and came to Kyiv, and he knows that Chernihiv after 1 month of war was mainly destroyed city.
Саме страшне було спочатку, коли ніхто нічого не розумів, що робити, а потім страшне почалося, коли почали вбивати людей.
One bad situation was when no one understand what's happening and what to do, and second bad situation, really bad, when Russians start to kill people, civilian people. Цивільних людей, правильно, Льош?
Так, цивільних людей. Для цього підготуватися складно, тому...
It's not possible to be prepared for such things.
Тому відчуття було знервоване.
This feeling was really nervous.
І намагалися спасти себе і свою сім'ю, по-перше.
We are focused on make safe for ourselves and our families. And this situation was in all the farmers, I think. It's not, the main thing, it's not possible. I trying to look to this situation when it was not me, some guy who's sitting somewhere and trying to understand what's happening with Kostya or with Olexiy. Believe me, my friends, it's not possible to understand how it is before you was not here or in this situation. Yes, I think that Olexiy and me was okay. This COVID situation, bad years, COVID problems. Now we understand that COVID is not problem. We understanding that.
Але, Костя, дуже цікава річ. Наскільки я розібрався в ситуації, нам планувалося, що ми взагалі-то Україну здамо русским, і русські будуть стояти на кордоні з Польщею.
And he trying to understand the situation. He's 100% sure that Russians think that after a few days they will occupy all Ukraine, and that they will be near Polish border.
Але сильні українські люди вирішили по-іншому ситуацію і взяли все в свої руки і не здали нашу страну.
But strong Ukrainian people think different, and they put all the situation in their hands, and now we have what we have. We don't make
тому
this
ми
happen.
маємо можливість працювати зараз тут.
And now we have possibility to work.
On that same line of thought there, how did your farming operation, and I know, Konstantin, how your operation changed, how have you guys dealt with, we hear about the fuel issues, the part supply, stuff like that. How has that, how have you been able to react to that, I guess?
Okay, I will tell story in this direction. So first days I say that it's problem with banks. we don't have possibility to buy dollars, euro, and pay to our friends from suppliers, yes, to buy spare parts. I understand the situation. In day number 2, I'm organize Zoom calls with main bosses of CNH New Holland, maybe you know such company in Europe. I tell them, guys, I don't have possibility to pay you money. I want from you to have understanding that we will win Russians, and we need spare parts. And I tell you that I don't have possibility to pay you. I want from your side open limit to have as minimum 1 truck of spare parts, because farmers need to have spare parts. And good things that after 2 days of discussion, of analyze everything, they give me open limit to have 1 truck of spare parts. We was first of companies in Ukraine which have truck of spare parts for agriculture equipment in Ukraine. Custom start to work. We pay officially all VATs, all taxes, clear spare parts. It was in both in CNH and with Lemkin companies. They give us to this open account, and we have these trucks of spare parts. I understand that to don't stress for my personal, they must to do something physical. So all my guys came to work to organize shipping, service, and everything else. Parallel, we are organizing a lot of interesting stuff from Europe. This heat night vision sensors, you know, this for hunting. Yeah. You know this thing?
Yes.
Just you're looking, and in night you see everything. And we help our army guys to hunt on some special pigs. And we are organizing per day near 20 of them. It was situation I asked 2 guys in front, guys, what you need more? Just 3 or 5 good qualities is sensor which see pigs in 2 kilometers, or you need 5 times more just which sees this pig in 1 kilometer. They say, no, only for 1 kilometer, but more. So, and we organize a lot of such things in first days. And I understand that all my home, everything in Kiev, and we organizing it somewhere closer to special hunters for pig near Kiev. Yes, there is another problem was when bombs was on big diesel station, which of stocking of fuel. Russian bombs came there. Each day we have in different regions these bombs. All big stocks of fuel was bombed, and then it came problems day after day, bigger and bigger, with diesel for farmers, for everything. So we're understanding that mainly, you know, this logistic lines, everything, we are boarding diesel or benzene gas from White Russia and Russia. So we must to change our logistic to European countries, and not by trains, but maybe with trucks. It's take more than 2 months. And this few months, it was huge problem. Good that we have our own place with not so big storage of diesel, so we don't have this problem. For some farmers which don't have in stock, it was huge problems. It was situation when farmers calling and say, Kostya, we are not seeding, we don't have diesel. I say, okay, you will have your truck with spare parts and 1 ton of diesel. It was situation like this, because we must understand that. So from my side, I understanding that Ukraine need to seed as much as possible. So another situation when Kiev region was deoccupied, I understand that a lot of farmers have their tractor burns, their tractor drivers killed or something like this. And I make decision, I just have one seeder 12 meters just to set seed wheat. I have like trade in from one farmer, and I repair it. I prepare one tractor, 300 horsepower, trade in, and want to help farmers in Kiev to seed. My girls from call center called to all the farmers, and main thing for me, I was ready, but I don't help anyone farmer because main problems was bombs on the field, and they cannot seed, cannot spread, because we have more than 20 situation only in Kiev region when farmers start to spreading fertilizers, and sometimes it's not only metal bombs. Sometimes it's special plastic bombs, which understanding that something big metal driving around or somewhere closer, and they just bombing out only after this. So sometimes, so more than 20 situations when a tractor with tractor drivers just was bombed on the field. So this is why I don't have possibility to help farmers in this direction. But I start to understand then that our Black Sea is closed. I analyze that logistic way of selling of our corn, wheat, soybeans, everything else before war was 90% by Black Sea. Yes, I understand this, that Black Sea closed. I calculate how much we can sell to Europe and how much logistic can put. And my calculators show to me that just to sell and logistically put in Europe our corn, grain, rape, sunflower from last year, it will take 4 years more. So capacity of 1 month of all logistic way to Europe was only 800,000 tons, and only corn we have more than 24 millions. So calculation was not so good. Then I understand that we will need this to store it somewhere, and I understand that all storage what we have in Ukraine is not enough. Then I'll understand that farmers will need a lot of these silo bags, you know, these white bags,
yep,
which you can put your grain, corn, something like this. So we call to all producers of silo bags. They say, okay, you must wait till September, then we can sell you something. I understand that it's not the best way to wait till September. We don't have so much time. So I make decision, we call to all dealers, European dealers of the silo bags, and buy all their stocks. Price was not so good, but in reality we need it. Then we understand that we cannot help farmers because they don't have possibility to sell their grain and they need spare parts. So we make decision, we make 2 deals. So for example, first it was big baler, we give it to farmer and he give us grain. Then I start to understand, okay, we need to think what to do with this grain. With such quantity of grain which we need to sell to European Union, price for this trucks which are loading by grain, I don't know name of this truck, special trucks which are going with grain, is go directly to the sky. I think 3 times or 5 times more than it was before it. So I think, okay, bad situation, what to do? So we decide to use normal trucks and put grain in big bags. You know what it is? 1 big bag needs 1 ton. So we just put all grain, corn, rape to big bags and just transport it with simple trucks. It's cost us less. Then we go to direction of trains. We have experience to load trains. And because it was situation like this, we need to find solution. Either way, it was bigger problem. So it was not. So this in this period, we have great idea to organize production of good quality bourbon. Bourbon, as I know, it's special type of whiskey, which are made in percentage from corn. I understand that in Ukraine we have huge quantity of corn. We need some productions. So we make design of this bourbon. I make decisions that this bourbon must to be not like normal bourbon 40% degrees. Must be minimum 45. It must show in strongness of Ukrainian farmers. It must be in two colors, blue and yellow. Colors of Ukrainian flag. So it's not normal to use in logo Ukrainian flag. So we will use just yellow corn and we will use blue skies. So I speak with a lot of, okay, I can show you. This is how this bourbon will be.
For those of you on the call, we're working getting Russell Hedrick involved here. So
yes, so it was idea. So it's idea we speak with a lot of European producers of spiritus, yes, and I have some experience to speak with Americans. Say, guys, in Europe they don't have enough possibility to produce good bourbon. This why I understand that we must to speak with some American guys who have a lot of knowledge to produce good bourbon, because bourbon which will tell about strongness of Ukraine must be produced by good producers. So this is open idea which I open to discuss with anyone from America who have experience to produce such bourbon. I can organize or start few containers with corn to America. I open to speak about business idea to have production of this bourbon here in Ukraine. But I understand without knowledge and without so much experience like you Americans have, we will not have success. We will not have good bourbon. So I'm ready and open to have business together 50-50 with investment. I'm 100% sure after our win of this war we will have a lot of investment. We are great specialists in Ukraine, so welcome. It's one of the idea. It came when we have in our stock a lot of big bags with corn. And sometimes, you know, when you're calculating and understanding that logistic take more than 50% of price, it's a bad situation. So, nevertheless, we speak with producer of special machine which are filling this silo bags and order till September everything what they can produce. And with this situation, we help to a lot of farmers. More than 50% of our turnover and helping for farmers was just trading by corn, wheat, rape, or something like this. We turn over more than 4,000 tons of different wheats. So I think it was good idea. It's work normal. And then it was special situation when Black Sea was open. It was deal with Turkey, European Union, Russia, and say, okay, you can, Panamax can go through. Then situation become better and prices for farmers become better. For your understanding what it was, just farmers from Odessa and Poltava region, what I really know, price with which they have possibility to sell their grain from the field, just think, $25 per ton.
Probably should start focusing on some questions here. We got plenty of them coming in. One of the things that has amazed me through this whole situation, and when I talk to people, that's the first thing I tell them out in public, is the education that's been going on all the way through this whole deal. And, you know, Olexiy, have you been going to the meetings and stuff like that? You know, it just amazes me how Konstantin and other organizations are constantly putting on meetings through this whole deal, helping educate and become better farmers.
No problem. About what you want us to speak?
Well, the question is, are universities or organizations helping educate farmers over the last 14 months? And I was making, I guess, a general statement that yes, they are, but if you want to add anything to that.
Yes, they are. But the main thing, how can you help someone to live if you don't have such experience? The main thing, I have this guy who's good psychologist and say he's calling to his friends, the great specialists in this direction, and ask help how to figure out this situation. And you know what they tell to him? Say, okay, guys, you must understand that now we will call you and ask, because in this situation where you are now, no one has this experience in our scientific way. So in situation when military guys say you that you will not be allowed to plant corn and sunflower, and you plan to seed it, what to do? Let's call to university. What they will help?
Yeah, but no, I think one of the other guys we were going to have on, he's been hosting a lot of Americans doing presentations and that, and I know Erin's done it. I've done a few. Steve Groff, Dwayne Beck. There's been a lot of guys trying to help the same way we are today. And that another question we have coming in here would be for Olexiy specifically: why did you go organic?
Лёшка, чого ти органічним займаєшся?
Я займався no-tillage. В принципі, можна так сказати, що вивчив його і стало нецікаво.
He was no-till guy, and he thinks that he know no-till really good, and he want to have something more interesting for him.
Я в no-tillі вирощував сою і продавав насіння сої. І мав дохідність 300%.
And he's selling soybeans for thinning material, and he have 300% of profit, yeah? 300% of profit.
Потім мене познайомили з органічним виробництвом, і мені стало цікаво, як зробити органіку на великих площах.
Then he have now few farmers who doing organic, but he just think what he must do to make organic in huge area.
На той час у нас в Україні це було не заробляння грошей, а як це сказати правильніше?
Hobby. It was not about business and only about some яку органічна
Хобі було.
Like hobby it was, yes. And Olexiy want to make it business.
І мені стало цікаво, як це можна зробити великі площі органічними.
And he trying to make a huge areas in organic.
Перший рік ми посіяли 6 гектарів, все заросло бур'яном.
First year they seed 6 hectares and they have done good success.
All weeds.
All fields was with weeds, not with corn or soybeans.
Слідуючий рік ми посіяли 100 гектарів, все заросло бур'яном.
100 hectares, they have the same situation, all weeds.
А на третій рік ми посіяли 300 гектарів. І,
But I'm sorry, it's not weeds. It's not weeds. It's so something. For example, if you seed corn and this bed plants, what name of this bed plants? Nevertheless, huge quantity. It's not weeds. Okay. Okay, we are farmers. It's not
soybean.
Not soybeans which grow in this field. Yes, all dear sunflower, something like this. What name of this thing which growing on the field and you don't want it to grow in this field?
Weeds that volunteers from previous crops.
What?
Go ahead, Luda.
weeds and volunteers of previous crops.
Yes, weed crops.
Volunteer weeds.
Yes. I'm sorry.
І потім, коли вже в мене почала виходити органічне виробництво, росло майже все без бур'янів,
And
мені стало цікаво no-till органіка.
Year after 3, he made good without weeds, good areas. He just interesting about organizing no-till organic.
Я почав вивчати опит різних стран.
He tried to analyze experience of different countries.
Дуже багато мені допомогла Ерин Сільва.
A lot of Erin Silva helped him.
І 6 років ми експериментували в себе на полях.
And 6 years they have experiments in his fields.
Основні експерименти були з соєю.
Main experiments was with soybeans.
І по сої в нас виходили непогані результати.
And with soybeans they have not so bad results.
І були також експерименти з гречкою, з соняшником, фасолю, тиквою.
Льоша, крім соняшника, англійських названь оцих тикв.
Соняшник, бінс, ну, ти переведе.
Sunflower beans and
buckwheat, meal, and тиква, я не знаю, як тиква буде.
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
Thank you.
Нічого не виросло.
They don't have any results with pumpkins.
Але на слідуючий рік ми посіяли вже по новій технології, теж no-till, але вийшла інша проблема – це засуха у нас була.
And another year they have problem with no moisture on the field, no rains.
І зараз ми вирішуємо питання відносно того, як все ж таки можна працювати в органічному no-till, незважаючи на те, що може бути засуха, а може її не бути.
Now they're thinking how to work is in no-till organic if you have sometimes problem with moisture.
Також займаюся вирощуванням бінарних і тройних посівів, тобто сумішей товарних культур.
He's sometimes using 2 or 3 types of different plants in one field.
І також поєднання це в лісосмуг з вирощуванням товарних культур в лісосмугу.
А як я це переведу, Льош?
А Люда допоможе.
Olexiy is experimenting with polycropping, with binary crops and growing 3 cash crops together, and also with agroforestry.
У Люди лучше получается. Давай, Леш, я передаю слово.
What is the rainfall in your area, Olexiy?
А в нас буває від 500 мм до 1000 мм осадків, але в тому році оці всі осадки, вони випали, ну, не випадали в той час, коли росли рослини. І в нас була тільки зимова волога.
200 to 400 inches per year, but last year all of it was in winter. Nothing was during growing season.
Would that be millimeters?
600
500
міліметрів.
to 1,000 millimeters per year.
Okay, yeah. What's some of our other questions here? Want to make sure we kind of keep a few guys. One of the big questions is, what is food availability in your area?
You mean how much we need wheat to stay alive?
How is availability of food? How, you know, are the grocery stores stocked?
No, with food we don't have problems. The main thing is that we have another problem. We have so much wheat, corn, and everything else. we need to sell it somewhere. We don't have problem all this time with food in our shops. No problem. Even sometimes, if I want, can have possibility to buy even oysters. No problem. Good cheese. Not only bread.
Another question here is the organic corn used here, a lot of it comes from Ukraine. What are the current conditions of export and infrastructure for export? And how wide is the restriction on growing a tall crop like corn?
Льош, біологічний...
Мабуть, до мене, але я не зрозумів.
Чи є зараз проблеми з експортом біологічної продукції в Європу? Чи ти відчув проблеми з цим?
Так. Проблема є слідуючі, їх дві. По-перше...
Люда, давай, Люд.
Ага. Люда, вімкніть мікрофон. Дві проблеми є. Перша проблема – це те, що нас в зв'язку з війною наші закордонні покупці вже не чекали і закупили ці об'єми в інших продавців. Це перша проблема.
Люда, ти зможеш трошки, ні?
Давайте ви, вас гарно виходить.
The biggest problem that suppliers which want to buy his, for example, product in Europe, they know that in Ukraine there is war, and they don't expect that Olexiy will have possibility to sell them something, and they already contract this quantity from another producers.
Але все ж таки вони знайшли в себе сили і якимось чином з затримками, але викупили в нас нашу продукцію.
But I don't know how they find, but they find possibility and money to bought our production.
А друга проблема – це транспортна, з якою стикнулася вся Україна. Подорожчав транспорт в 3 рази. Тому наша продукція здешевіла на цю суму.
Second problem is logistic cost, because expenses for logistic is grown near 3 times. But I will tell from my side, for organic production, it's in percentage, this growing of logistic much less than in normal corn or wheat. It's depend of end price in Europe, so it can be $50 or $60 per ton, but if the price only 200, it's near 100, half of this. But if you have price 300, it's not so paintable.
І на додачу у нас третя була проблема. У нас склався такий рік цікавий, що спочатку у нас все засохло, а потім вже коли дозрівало, воно замерзло і не дозріло нормально. А наостанок, після того, як воно дозріло і майже перед збиранням, у нас на місяць пішли дощі. І тому воно загнило.
І оце в такої
якості, в такої якості...
I will translate, my friend.
Ну, давай.
Могу все не запомнить. First problem, they have not enough of rain. All wheat was bad. Second problem, in September, then have frozen. So quality was falling down. And third problem, when they must to harvest, rain start. So quality and quantity of their harvest was really low.
І так ми отримали меншу врожайність в 2 рази.
They fall down in their tons per hectare twice.
Деяку продукцію ми продали в 2 рази дешевше, тому що вона не відповідала якості органічної.
And some of production they sell twice less because quality of this product was not so good. So they have only 25% of what they expect.
Тому ми отримали від очікуваного в грошах в 3 рази менше.
Я в 4 сказав вже.
Окей.
Question I want to get in here yet is you talked about your companion cropping a little bit. Would you care to share what crops you're growing together, the 3 crop system you're doing?
Luda, help me.
Loran has a question about companion cropping. Which three cash crops do you grow together, Alex?
Супер перевод. З англійського на англійську.
Олексій, які три культури ви разом вирощуєте?
Зараз в мене був досвід гречка з проса.
Buckwheat and millet and flax, right?
А також я туди додавав фацелію та льон.
And Facilia.
Але воно не вийшло. Тобто я зібрав тільки гречку і просо.
But it wasn't very successful, so only millet and buckwheat were harvested, not flax and Facilia.
Угу. Варіантів сумішів дуже багато, але пробував тільки цю.
There are many different options, but this is the one that he harvested last year.
And fertility-wise, how are you able to maintain fertility through the situation right now, or what are you doing on that front?
Що у вас з родючістю землі? Вона така ж сама, як була, чи як ви її вдосконалюєте?
Я сподіваюся, що земля наша стала краще, тому що ніякі біопрепарати, які ми намагаємося використовувати в різних варіаціях, пробувати, не дають результату. Тому, а так як в наших сусідів дають результати, то я роблю висновки, що вона стала краще, завдяки невикористанню хімії тільки. Але то, що ми культивіруємо землю, це не зовсім добре, тому йдемо в напрямку органічного no-till.
Olexiy says that fertility has improved, and he can judge by lack of efficacy of the bugs in a jug on his farm while they work on neighboring farms. He understands that cultivation does not improve fertility. He tries to use shallow cultivation and as little of it as possible and experiment with organic no-till. But yeah, he thinks that fertility is improving.
And yields are maintaining sufficiently in that?
І врожай на тому ж самому рівні?
Врожай, в принципі, збільшується, але я це пов'язую з культурою виробництва. Тобто ми все більше і більше стаємо, якісніше виконуємо органічні функції, як вони повинні бути. Тобто менше бур'яну в нас, отак от я вам скажу. Менше бур'яну, краще сівозміна вистроюється, тому і краще врожайність стає.
Yields are improving and wheat situation becomes better due to better crop rotation.
Message I just got here is the land that isn't able to be farmed where the fighting is, what happens there? I mean, is that fallow, growing up in weeds? It might be a question you guys can't answer directly, or...
Yes,
Питання про окуповані землі, да. Костя?
Yes, weeds, yes, sometimes they have last year corn or sunflower on it. One of the big problems that each area which will be deoccupied, it's so huge quantity of bombs, it's unbelievable. So sometimes it will take as minimum 1 year to have possibility to go there with tractor and planter and sprayer, whatever. So this is the biggest problems. So it's good that sometimes it's become like no-till, but in reality the biggest problem is bombs which are there.
I know a question we talked last year is what percentage of the area do you believe will be planted this year in Ukraine?
Yeah, 85%.
I know a question we had gotten in from the audience talking about the bombs. How do farmers find those bombs, and then how do they safely remove them in the field?
It's not farms. Sometimes they are using some drones to find it. but mainly it's special military guys coming with special equipment to find these bombs. One of the biggest problems is these plastic bombs, which you cannot find with metal detector. This is one of the biggest thing. So now I think a lot of different guys from drones, everything else, trying to find possibility to find these bombs. But farmer by himself maybe just helping with tractor to pick up somewhere these bombs or something like this, but he's not walking around to find bomb. It's specialist must to do this job. It's not so easy. Sometimes it's necessary to have special machines, maybe robotic machines, maybe specific things to unbomb it. So it's take time and it's take a lot of specialists, and it's not give you 100% results that it's safe enough.
Костя, а ти не казав про те, що іноді люди все ж таки наїжджають на ці бомби, коли культивуються?
Я казав, що біля 20 случаїв по Київській області. Saying that there is a lot of situation even in our areas, it's Kyiv region, Chernihiv, Zhytomyr region, when tractors, farmers think that it's safe enough, go in the field, and sometimes it happens that tractor driver is not alive and something like this. So in reality, the biggest problems is bombs. You cannot be 100% sure.
До мене тиждень тому приїжджав фермер з Херсонщини з ціллю перевести своє виробництво до нас на Житомирщину, тому що в нього багато чого заміновано є. Але потім подивився на наші землі і каже, свої кращі поїде розміновувати.
Olexiy says that one farmer from Kherson region was in his place. Okay, want to rent soil here in your area because my area was deoccupied and a lot of bombs there. But he see quality of soil and say, no, I will go back home to unbomb my area to work with my better land. Quality of soil.
Perfect segue to my next question there. Ed just asked, what is the status of the soil health quality and organic matter and stuff like that in Ukraine? And, me personally, that's one of the things I was in awe of when I was there is, I had always heard like the Russians and the Germans and that were way ahead of us in World War II on some of the soil health stuff. How does that translate to today?
I think I don't understand the question. You mean in Ukraine we have good quality of soil? What's the question?
Has it degraded over the years like the land here in the States?
Price of the land?
No, the organic matter, the humus, I think you'd call it.
80-90% of Ukrainian farming using plow. I will not tell you a lot about increasing of quality of soil. So the main thing that mainly farmers which are working on the field, they don't owner of the land, they're renting it, and the main thing what they need to have quantity of dollars per acre, hectares. So quality of the soil, not a lot of farmers thinking in this direction, but the main thing that our land give us possibility to work with is the quality of black soil which we have in Ukraine is really good. Really one of the best black soils in the world in Ukraine.
And that goes back to what I seen when I was there. I mean, even though it was moldboard plowed in the winter, we didn't see we call it the snert, the black snow, where the snow blows, and we get the soil mixed in and that. So it's just a little commentary for the audience there. The soil structure there is just phenomenal. So, I mean, we're over an hour here already. Any closing thoughts that you guys would like to share? I mean, how can the American farmer keep helping the Ukrainian farmer? I guess that'd be my parting question. I mean, What can we do to keep helping you guys?
F-16.
F-16. The main thing what we need everything to as fast as possible to not stop, win this war. You must understand that we in our land, and we don't go to Russia, we don't go to any meter of their land. We was in our land, and when Loran, was in Ukraine, you remember my words, I don't believe in this war, it will not happen. I don't want to believe that it will happen, but it is. We in our land, and why we are stronger? Because we are fighting for our families, we are fighting for our children, we are fighting for our mothers, for our land. We need weapon. We need weapon to tell to all the world that it's not normal when you came to another flat with tanks, bombs, and everything else. We now telling to whole world that came to another country with guns, it's not normal. And the main thing, if we will lose this war, a lot of countries like China and everything else will do the same. They have little countries around them which they want to occupy, and they will find possibility why they are doing this. Okay, we have one guy who's speaking our language in this country. Let's go and say that someone doing bad thing with him, we will punish everyone, and this country will become our country. One of the big problems that we are paying for this huge price, huge value, lives of our best brave guys, and this is the biggest problem. This is the biggest problem. We become stronger. Sometimes for such guys like Olexiy and me, we must be like, no, there is this power banks from which you are charging your iPhones or our iPhones or whatever. So we are feeling like this power banks, and all days we need to charge everyone to say, okay, let's go, you must do. But sometimes even charge bank become empty in evening. So it's good that my family and Olexiy family is here with us, and in evenings they're charging us for second day. We strong enough. What you can help, I give you warranty 100%. We will win this war. Help us to produce good bourbon. Another what I have, we have good land. We are growing a lot of corn, and my dream is to have here production from corn, bioethanol. You have bioethanol. You know about what I mean? You have a lot of such in America, and I don't know if we have such good in Ukraine. So then we will have less expenses for transport. Second, for transport this corn. So if some farmers in America have experience of production bourbon or doing bioethanol from corn, I'm ready to speak about organizing this production in Ukraine. I'm not speaking about give me everything for free. I'm ready to invest in this direction, but I need people who have knowledge in this direction, and maybe money, why not? So speak with your guys, speak with your neighbors, tell that Ukraine is strong enough. Loran was here. It's not country when we have huge quantity of technology. For your example, 6 months ago, I have installed, we have in some fields bad internet connection with mobile phone and don't have good RTK. So we install from Elon Musk Starlink contractor, and he have good internet. So in technology of precision farming, differential seeding, everything, we're really good. We have this knowledge. We're using this technology. We have already now. It was better rods sometimes, and we're strong enough. We now even they try to. I don't tell you. They try to turn off all our electricity, just bombing all electricity producing factory. What we've done, even from my experience, farmer who have thousands of cows and have milk from them, he called me, Kostya, I have a problem. I have cows and they turn off electricity. I have in each side one generator, and I don't use it for 7 years. My problem, I don't check them. And when they turn off electricity, I try to start it, not working. And cow don't understand this. They need to give milk. Yes, this why I for a few days give him my generator from my office. Because I understand that cows need to be milked. Yes, and after this, I called to all producer in Europe of generators. They say, okay, wait till March of 23. I say no, and use the same situation when I called to all the dealers in Europe and buy their stock. And I think Ukraine is country now where we have so much generators. So we are strong enough. We have problem. We figure out this problem, and we're still alive. When a lot of farmers, from not only farmers, my friends from Europe, from America, calling me and say, Konstantin, how are you? How are you? My main answer on this question: still alive. This is what we are doing. We are still alive.
Well,
we wake up in the morning. No, the main thing when I start my morning, see my face in mirror, and I'm happy because our victory, one day closer than it was yesterday.
Exactly, and I thank you guys for everything. You know, I often wonder why I think the way I do since I've been there, and it keeps going back to all you've ever asked us for is help. You know, the Ukrainian people have never asked for us to show up there and do anything. They just ask for help. And that's what I think the American farmer needs to hear out of all of this. We can help just by sharing knowledge and helping you guys make the connections. And that's what it's going to take to win this. And, you know, I think we all can become better people out of this in the long run. So with that, I'm going to thank you guys. And if there's anything we can ever do to help you out in the future, just let me know. And Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава.
The main thing, we must to be positive on the way. A lot of smiling. Only like this we will. The main thing, I will tell you. When the war starts, I just have one big room with all my employees which working and say, okay, guys, if we and our company can do any step which will make our victory closer to 1 second, or if we can do something which will save lives to our guys or make something different to Russians, we will do it. So with positive, with smile, go to the victory.
Yes, and I second everything Loran said about thank you for being here with us and sharing your story. And if anybody out there watching has any resources for the bourbon or the ethanol or anything else that they can offer to Konstantin and Olexiy, either reach out to Loran or myself and we'll pass that info along to them. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you to everyone in the audience for having coffee with us this morning too. And happy Easter to everybody who celebrates. So have a good rest of your Friday and a happy weekend.
Happy Easter. Oh, and without jokes about bourbon and bioethanol. It's not joke. If you have some experience and idea in this direction, I can came in America. We can speak, discuss. This factory must to grow, first of all, after 1 year on the paper, then understanding investment and step by step. No problem. We are open.
Yeah, so anybody out there, serious offer out there, and like I said, either get in touch with me or Loran, and we will connect you. So once again, have a great rest of your day, and thank you to all.